Good morning. We come to a discussion on the reference to the context and an analysis of Act 4, Scene 1. There is only one scene, and I hope you've gone through the little discussion we have had on the entire scene in the last two lessons. And now, I've just put a few points about how you analyze the mask scene. Now, if we are going to only take the mask scene, remember, we are not going to do the analysis of the last part where you have the episode between Caliban and Prospero Stefano and Trinculo. Sorry, the last section. But suppose it is an analysis of the entire scene, then we do have to include the whole, right? So initially, let us look at the analysis of the mask. And I've put a few points here. You have to give a detailed description of mm, mm, the blessings, the songs. You have to paraphrase a bit of it, but there are certain points that you definitely need to include in your answer, and that is what I've put up on this whiteboard. Now, if you see the Tempest, I mean, like I mentioned it while I was doing the explanation, that was believed to have been performed at court to celebrate the marriage of James I's daughter Elizabeth to Count Friedrich Count Palatine. So it was meant as a kind of a celebratory uh, play. So a further celebration within it, mask, which is adds on to the celebration of marriage. So Prospero is actually ordering Ariel to conduct this celebratory mask in honor of Miranda and Ferdinand. And if you their betrothal. Now, if you see in the beginning, Prospero says in the beginning of Act 4, he does say that I have punished you very harshly, and now I'm ready to atone for all that, and so I've organized this mask for you. And also remember, the mask is a kind of show, a display of his art, which for the first time he tells Ariel that I would like them to see my magic, to see my powers. So proud of the art that he has had, he has mastered, he possesses. So this mask is a celebration of that. And he says that I'm giving you my valuable gift, that is Miranda. So let's not go into this entire gender argument or the feminist argument about um, how a father hands over the daughter to the husband and she is like a possession being passed from one to the other. We leave all these sticky debates for the honors level students for their discussion. At the ISC, we just keep to the celebration, the love and romance, and the theme that Prospero is pursuing of setting all the wrongs right. And the best way to set the wrong right is through the union of Naples and Milan, that is Ferdinand and Miranda, right? So, and they praise Miranda to to the greatest extent possible, and also that entire thing, like I explained to you, that to preserve their sanctity, he asks, requests Ariel to bring in all the gods and goddesses um, to um, to shower their blessings on this young couple. Yes, and so then apart from how he sort of admonishes Ferdinand that you should be honorable and you should um, be true to your promise of being a real prince who honors the institution of marriage. You should not forget your vows, and so then comes, of course, the mask. So you have all the gods and goddesses. So you have, as a messenger of Juno, Iris summons Ceres to celebrate the contract of true love. And like I told you, all these gods and goddesses, the queen Juno is the queen of the sky. She's the empress of marriages, and so Ceres comes, who is a goddess of harvest, and harvest is where everything is plentiful, when there is a celebration, right? So, marriage is also a celebration of everything that is fruitful and everything that is fertile and everything that augurs that it'll good will happen. So, a good harvest augurs happiness for everyone. A good marriage augurs happiness for everyone. So that is the similarity or the parallel lines that we draw, and that's why the goddesses, where uh, we have all the vineyards full, the harvest is rich, and greetings from gods and goddesses to show that there is a celebration of true love. And so they are gifting the happiness to them, right? So, this pastoral image throughout the dialogue of Ceres, Iris, the songs to bless the young couple, is for marriage and children to follow, which is again a symbol of abundance, right? A symbol of abundant harvest. It shows that life continues, life grows, families multiply, like the harvest that is flowering and growing. So the mask is a display also of Prospero's vanity, my art. Yes, show them my art. Yes, showing off his powers, probably when he mentions it for the very first time. We as readers do see his powers, but Ferdinand and Miranda do not have an obvious display shown to them. So, this is it. They realize that Prospero is all powerful to that extent that Ferdinand says that if I want, uh, Prospero is strong enough to create heaven out of any place. So I would love to continue living on this island and not go anywhere to that extent, yes. So, a very important point, if you see here, lifts the action of the present into the future. So, we were in the past, if you remember, at the beginning. From the past, we moved to the present, right? And for any denouement to happen, the play to end, yes, we have to move into the future because the future is what is bright. The future is what is pleasant. The future is what augurs happiness. So, this present, and who is going to lead us into the future? Ferdinand and Miranda, because they are for the future, right? The young couple, they are for the future. They are going to bring Milan and Naples together. So, there will be end of all enmity between the two nation states, right? uh, Future, I've given a quote of the phrase a brave new world. You will come across this very soon when we do act 5. So the brave new world, it's a brave new world. It's people who are brave, who are honest, who are hardworking, who believe in love and honesty and not conspiracy, not death, not discord, not revenge. Yes, and this is built on the love of Ferdinand and Miranda, the brave new world. So their relationship brings in the order and harmony in the world of hate and discord. See, the hate and discord was the fathers, right? The world of the fathers. That means Prospero, Alonso, and then you had the brothers, Sebastian, Antonio. So the generation before brought in the discord, and the new generation is going to bring in the love. That is what the mask celebrates. And you also have the pastoral nymphs and reapers who also come in dancing in celebration. And they reflect the island. You'll see they'll be wearing straw hats, their clothes will be maybe of green in color, the leaves and grass adorning it. So everything that reflects nature, plentiful in nature, the abundance in nature, nature, the world around, which is being transported to the world of men. So the same abundance, the same beauty, the same love, and the same fruitfulness is being translated from nature around to the world of men through this mask. So that is extremely important about the mask here. Now, you do have a few references to Cupid and Venus and Paphos, where the little stories in between which you need to bring in, but you also see the entire the surprise on Ferdinand, who says that um, this is a harmonious vision. He's never seen anything like this. And he says that I'm sure that Prospero is going to make this very island a paradise. He has the powers to do so. Yes. And then Then suddenly, I mean, that's how the mask ends, because it is an abrupt end. Prospero ends it knowing that they have realized what marriage means, they realize what promise means, they realize what happiness means. So, mask ends. Suppose you get an analysis of the scene, you will have to move to the second part of the scene when he says the mask abruptly ends because Prospero is reminded that he still has a few loose ends to complete. Yes, and he says, he's reminded of Caliban's conspiracy. He says that subplot has to be tended to now. So he orders Ariel to get those three conspirators close to the cave and to show them the real power again. Again, this is a display of Prospero, but in a negative sense, because he wants to put Caliban in place. Ultimately, it is to put Caliban in place because Caliban has brought Stefano and Trinculo to the cave so that they can kill Prospero. But you see, Stefano and Trinculo get disturbed by the beautiful clothes hanging on the line, and here you feel that Caliban is a notch higher in intelligence because Stefano and Trinculo are mere servants in the court, so they get so charmed by those glossy and gleaming attires that they are enamored by that. They're trying it on, and Caliban is very upset, and then he realizes that these people perhaps are not worth all the honor that he's showering on them. He said, "Why are you looking at these? You've got a greater task in hand, and that is the killing of Prospero. You have to take over the island, you have to marry Miranda. Don't get disturbed by all this." And then he realizes that they are not, these two do not have, especially Stefano, there will be no match for Prospero. And that's exactly what happens. Prospero wakes up and they are hounded by all the dogs that he lets loose on them. Let loose the dogs of war, I mean, if I may quote. And the subplot also ends, that the conspiracy that was growing there also comes to an end. So probably Act 4 ties all the loose ends, yes, together. A celebration on one hand of the marriage and prosperity, and also completing the play, moving towards the final act with the completion of the subplot. So I've included the subplot if we have an analysis of the entire scene. If we do not, if the question is only the mask, this is what you focus on, right? I hope you've understood. Right now, we now move to the reference to the context questions. And if you see, like I've always done, I've got quite a few references to the context for you to work on. They're very direct, remember, they're very to the point. So please answer them, practice writing, and remember all the reference to the context, most, not all, most of the reference to the context, 90% of them are from ISC question papers of the past. Tempest was tested even in the year 2000, before you all were born. So it was there in the syllabus for a long time. So I've included all the possible questions that have been tested by the board for these many years. And of course, earlier the question 6 was never a part. So I have, that's a design that I've changed and added a question 6 for the meaning question, which is a part of the new format reintroduced from 2017 when Tempest was brought back, right? So if you see, that's the first one is towards beginning of the scene. Fairly spoke with them and talk with her. She's thine own. What Ariel, industrial servant Ariel, enter Ariel, and the mask. These are 6 questions. The questions are there for you. Please do work on it. Then we have question 2. When Ferdinand said, "This is strange. Your father is in some passion that works him strongly." So this is towards the end of the mask, where he suddenly remembers about Caliban and the conspiracy, and that is what is here. And then of course you have the questions, uh, 6 questions as you see it. You have question number 3, which is based on Stefano and Caliban. "I'll fetch off my bottle, though I'll be over my labor." Do that good mischief which may make this island thine own forever, and I thy Caliban, for I thy footlicker. So you see that part. I mean, do your work, do what you've come here to do. Yes, and that's the beginning of the that scene when they are still moving towards the cave. They've just about come out of the swamp. Remember, when they move towards the cave. If you see, I've not given any reference to the context from the songs of the reapers and harvesters, or Iris Juno. Just go through it. The only sort of line there is where probably has been tested once is about the line of where Cupid has been sent off to Paphos because of what he did to Proserpine, daughter of Ceres. That section, the line numbers will vary, so I'm not giving you the line numbers, but that is the section which at times you may get it, but songs as such, like uh, do not come as reference to the context. The dialogue between Ceres and when Juno enters the stage and slowly comes down, and then when Ceres says that ever since Venus and the daughter Cupid plotted for the god Pluto for Pluto to steal Ceres's daughter Proserpine. Ceres has decided not to speak to Venus again, and so Iris is comforting her by saying that, look, Venus is somewhere else with her daughter, her son, and they're going home on to Paphos in a carriage which is being pulled by the doves, and they were planning a trick on Ferdinand and Miranda to induce them to break their vows of chastity, but we have moved them away. So you see that part probably you can keep in mind, but other than that, I have focused on reference to the context from the other sections, right? Okay, so again, the 6 questions here. This is again, I go back to Ariel. Thy thoughts I cleave, what's thy pleasure? That is the Caliban. Spirits, we must prepare to meet the Caliban. So, when I presented Ceres, I thought to have told thee, but I feared lest I might anger. Where didst thou leave those vows? So, where have you left those candles? And yeah. So, this again, you can please work out on these questions which are given, the 6 parts. And finally, the fifth one, I do one sample for you all, and this is the sample answer. This is Stefano, put off that gown, Trinculo. Reaches for his hand, I'll have that gown. When they're looking at all those glittering clothes hanging. Thy grace shall have it, Caliban, the drops he drowned this fool. Lovely alliterative line. What do you mean to dote thus on such luggage? See, I mean, for once you feel Caliban is slightly a notch more sensitive. Let it alone. And he's seen all this on the island. And do the murder first. If he awake from toe to crown, he'll fill us with pinches, make us do stuff. So he knows what is the need of the hour. So where are Trinculo and Stefano? What has distracted Trinculo? So Trinculo and Stefano are in front of Prospero's cave. Leave the line, next line, the second part. Trinculo is distracted by the sight of the glittering garments hanging on a line beside the cave, which is deliberately being put by Ariel on Prospero's instruction to divert their attention. Because Prospero knows that Stefano and Trinculo are mere servants. They will be charmed by all these glittering clothes, right? That's your first part for 1 mark, half and half. Second, which murder is Caliban referring to? The first part. The murder that Caliban is referring to is the killing of Prospero by Stefano. That is the murder, right? Why does he want this? Again, we are going back to the past. Caliban has been enslaved by Prospero for 12 years now. He has been deprived of his freedom as well as what he believes is the ownership of the island that rightfully belongs to him. So he wants Prospero killed to get back all his powers and his freedom. Honestly, he's not getting back his freedom. I've not written that part because he is going to change from one master to another. The freedom concept I've not included for Caliban. You should not, because freedom is what Ariel desires, not Caliban. He just wants to be free of Prospero to be enslaved by another. Right? So 2 parts again put separately. Third, what temptations had he offered to them to carry out the plan? That is Caliban. Caliban had tempted them, that is Stefano and Trinculo, with the full control of the island. There were also attractive decorations and furnishings that Stefano could use to decorate his home. Yes, or you can cut out the they here, which Stefano could use to decorate his home when he had killed Prospero. He had also described the beauty of Miranda, Prospero's daughter, to tempt him further. He could have her as his own once the father was out of the way. So, temptation is the king of the island, all the furnishings that he could use to decorate his palace, if you want to, and of course, Miranda's beauty. He could make Miranda his own. Immediate, remember, don't go too much into the past. Immediate temptations. You will get your 2 marks for any two of these points, but write all of them, yes. What would the two have to do first to carry out the success of the plan? What would they have to do first? The plan was to be the king of the island, to marry. What would they have to do? Stefano, aided by Trinculo, would have to enter Prospero's cave while he was sleeping in the afternoon, which was his routine, right? Enter into the cave first. They would have to kill him either by smashing his skull with a log or stabbing him in the midrib or just cutting his windpipe to stop his breathing. So they had an option, but ultimately it was to kill him, right? They would also have to burn all his books on magic, as these were powerful weapons causing pain and suffering. And Caliban has suffered because of the magic. So burning of the books is very important. So it's killing him and burning of the books. Two important tasks. You have to write both of them. Got it? Fifth, what does Caliban fear will happen if they fail? Remember what he says? Caliban fears that if they are unable to kill him, Prospero will not stop punishing them in every possible painful ways he can. He will let loose his spirits on them to pinch and wound them all over their bodies. He will turn them into geese or apes as he desires, with low foreheads and ugly dimensions, making them absolute worthless for the rest of their lives and giving them so much pain. So you see that pinching them, wounding them, turning them into geese and apes, you have to include all these points here. Got it? Understood? Very clear. Very precise, to the point. But you will get your 2 marks here. And then you have the word meaning of dropsy and crown. Dropsy is a disease of the nerves. It's like an epilepsy. Yeah, the nerves affect and you fall. And crown, of course, is the head. The top is the crown. Yeah. So I've given you one sample. I've given you quite a few, 4 reference to the context from past papers to work on. Please see that you complete. If you have all the questions, write it out. The best way to learn is to practice and write. Very important. We all are lazy, so but please do write it out. If you have doubts with any of the questions, you're most welcome to write to me, and I will solve your queries if there are any. Right? So we finish Act 4. We're moving into the final act of the Tempest very soon. Till then, stay safe. See you soon. Be happy. Bye.